Cranberries find their way into every Christmas holiday cheer. I think it's all about the color and how does it play around. However, cranberries are extremely tart and I prefer using dehydrated or dried cranberries in various different styles and forms. One dish that's a sure shot success and so easy to create is my cranberry and balsamic roast chicken. Now, it happens really fast, but you can style it up and pair it with a lentil loaf. Between you and me, a lentil loaf comes about by just using odds and ends that you have left over lying in your kitchen, your pantry or your refrigerator. Let's get to creating this magic, perfect for an intimate dinner or lunch for four. Let's get to creating it. Now, creating this cranberry and balsamic roast chicken, it's all about getting eccentric flavors to merge and marry with each other. So here I've got about 75 grams of dehydrated cranberries going into a bowl. With that, you want something spicy just to balance out the sweetness that the cranberry brings. So I've got about 6 fresh red chilies going in, about 12 cloves of garlic, a teaspoon of iodized salt, or you can use any salt that takes your fancy, a fine drizzle of some balsamic vinegar, so I'm using about 25 to 30 ml of that. And another 25 ml of extra virgin olive oil. All we're going to do now is blitz this into a puree and marinate the chicken with it. Blitz this and all you need to do is now marinate the chicken with it. Since we've added the salt, it makes things so much more easier. Pour this entire emulsion on the chicken and just allow it to seep in. Just going to give it a fine little drizzle of some balsamic vinegar, about 4 to 5 ml, not too much because you want it to be liquidy enough to marinate into each other. And another 5 to 10 ml of extra virgin olive oil. Now comes the part of just mixing it and allowing it to sit for a good half an hour, absorbing all the flavors within. Now as we allow the chicken to marinate and give it good 30 minutes just to absorb the flavors of cranberry, balsamic and everything that's gone into it. Now comes the fun part of creating this lentil loaf, and like I said earlier, all I've done is use odds and ends that I have in the kitchen, and this pairs gorgeously well with any roast or just by itself. So to start off, here I'm using mustard oil, but you can take some grapeseed oil and use it. You need a strong tart oil to flavor this mix. So about 30 ml of cold pressed mustard oil going bang into the pan, and this is what's going to give it that gorgeous flavor. As we allow the mustard oil to scent and fragrant the entire kitchen, in goes a tablespoon of finely chopped ginger, 6 cloves of garlic, 2 fresh red chilies just finely minced, and allow this to now mix and scent that gorgeous creation within. You don't want this to brown, you just want it to flavor the entire mix. In goes 1 red onion finely chopped, and now comes the fun part of just sauteing it and getting it slightly soft and that luscious pink color. In goes the stalk of 1 celery finely minced, 1 red pepper cut into dices, 1 yellow pepper cut into dices. You want this to soften, so give it about 4 to 5 minutes, and then comes the part of just mixing everything together. As we allow the bell pepper mixture to soften and get nice and soft, into another bowl goes 2 eggs that I'm just going to beat up, along with 4 tablespoons of milk. With that goes in about a tablespoon of dehydrated oregano flakes, a tablespoon of some dehydrated thyme, a few sprigs of rosemary. You want it to be bursting with flavor. Here I've got 4 dates that I finely minced going in. Some almonds for a bit of crunch, so about 8 almonds roasted, finely minced. Into all this you add 2 tablespoons of refined flour, just to enable everything to bind well with each other. Now comes adding in the thing that actually makes this lentil loaf, and you can use anything that you have lying around. So out here I've got some horse's gram that nobody ever eats. So 2 cups of horse's gram that is boiled. What I did is I soaked it overnight, boiled it, and that goes in. And this is a fun way to get everyone to eat everything out here. Just let everything mix in well, and to this you add either black rice or some brown rice. So here I've got half a cup of boiled black rice, and it just gives that color in, and just allow this to mix as well. So you mix that with the horse's gram and try and use 2 colors which give it some interesting depth for people to enjoy. The flavor is sharp, pronounced, and the mustard oil or the grapeseed oil just adds to the overall bit. Mix this well. Into this you add about half a cup of some fresh breadcrumbs just to bind everything together. And now let's wait to add in our vegetables that we sauteed on the side. You want to season this, and this gets a fine sprinkle of some Himalayan pink salt. You want a salt that's subtle, enhancing everything together, but at the same time bringing out all that robust flavor. This somewhat gorgeous looking mix gets a burst of color with all this flavor going right in, and the oil just scents the entire emulsion. So just mix the 2 together and put it into a loaf pan ready to be baked. I've greased and lined a silicone loaf pan out here, and we're just going to drop this in and ensure it goes into all the nooks and crannies of this so that you get that perfect loaf. When using a silicone mold, I like to tie a string around just to hold its shape, and while that is in a baking tray ready to go in, the chicken goes in as well. It's marinated for a good 30 minutes. I'm just putting it into a bakeware, and it goes bang into the oven at the same time. This goes bang into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for a good 45 minutes. While the lentil loaf nestles below, the chicken goes right on top. Now I like to ensure that the cranberry and balsamic roast has a little bit of gravy just to mop up that gorgeous lentil loaf that pairs along with this. All this cranberry and balsamic roast chicken requires is some cranberry pearls, the dehydrated kind, sprinkled on top, along with some curly parsley just to give it that burst of Christmassy color. While the lentil loaf is ready on a platter, you can choose to slice it or just dig into it and enjoy it. This is a perfect candid meal to enjoy with the family during the entire Christmas season. I hope you enjoyed creating this quirky blend of flavors, so Christmassy in nature. The tartness, the sweetness that the candied cranberries bring to this overall dish is by far unique. Pair it along with the lentil loaf. You and I know a trick that it's used with leftovers that are lying in the kitchen. Don't forget to share loads of love by hitting on the like button, and as always, don't forget to subscribe.